Fluent Talk Podcast
from SayAndLearn.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are getting into something that I think really hits home for a lot of us. It's this almost invisible exhaustion.
Oh, absolutely. It's the exhaustion that comes from this constant low-level pressure to explain yourself.
Exactly. And the sources we're looking at today, they really frame this as one of the biggest, quietest drains on our personal energy.
It's a vital exploration.
Yeah.
I mean, our sources are basically making the case that we live in a culture that is just fundamentally loud by design.
Loud in what way, though?
In the sense that from the moment you go online, or even just walk into a room, there's an unspoken expectation to perform, to broadcast, and most importantly, to justify why you're doing what you're doing.
And that's the gas cap being left open, right? That's the energy leak. So our mission for this deep dive is, well, it's pretty simple on the surface, but the implications are huge.
Right.
We want to pull out the key insights on how turning down that volume, minimizing the external explanations, and really maximizing your internal focus can lead to this incredible sense of peace and clarity.
And strength. The sources are very clear that this isn't about being passive. It's about building a new kind of personal strength.
So the idea is that in a world that's constantly demanding you prove yourself, the real power move is just being quiet.
It's a huge shift. You're moving from a life of reacting to everything around you to a life that is focused and non-reactive. And that can fundamentally change everything.
Okay, so let's just call the problem what it is right from the start. We are constantly busy explaining, proving, and talking.
And that leads to what you could almost call justification fatigue.
Ooh, I like that. Justification fatigue. It's this constant mental weight of managing how people see you. And it's so loud in your own head that you can't hear what you actually want.
That's it. It drowns out your own internal voice. So to reclaim that energy, we first have to tackle the reason we feel the need to perform in the first place.
Which is?
The illusion of the audience.
The moment you say that, the illusion of the audience, it clicks. Because that's exactly what it feels like, right? Like you're living your life on a stage.
It's a deeply ingrained habit for so many of us. You know, the sources point out that for many people, the very first thought of the day isn't, what do I need to do today?
It's, what will they think if I do this?
Exactly. What will they say if I fail? Or even if I succeed too much? It's this constant internal surveillance system.
And that creates so much pressure. It feels like this giant spotlight is just constantly on you, judging every single move.
Every choice that's a little bit outside the norm, every time you don't fit the mold perfectly, you're forced into this state of having to be, I don't know, perfectly explainable at all times.
Predictable.
Predictable, yeah. And available for critique.
There's a psychological term for this, isn't there?
There is. It's called the spotlight effect. We massively overestimate how much other people are actually paying attention to us, to our clothes, our behavior, our mistakes.
We think we're the main character in everyone's movie.
When in reality, everyone else is the main character in their own movie. They're not watching us that closely.
And that's the core of it, right? We are just wasting so much precious energy worrying about this invisible judgment. We're building the stage, writing the script, and then getting exhausted performing for an audience that
is either not paying attention or just isn't there at all.
Think about the mental energy involved in that.
It's huge. Every time you think about doing something different, say wearing a bright color or taking up a new hobby, you're spending your mental budget on guessing what the criticism might be.
A budget that you could be spending on actually doing the thing or creating something or just resting.
It's basically a self-imposed tax on your own self-expression.
There's that great example in the source material about being at the gym. I think everyone can relate to this.
Oh, for sure. The feeling that everyone is watching you.
Yeah.
Judging your form, how much weight you're lifting.
Or even what you're wearing. It's paralyzing. It stops you from trying new things because you're so worried about looking foolish.
But what was the big realization in that story?
The realization was that nobody was watching. The person finally looks around and sees that everyone else is completely lost in their own world.
They're struggling with their own workout, focused on their own goals, listening to their own music.
Every single person in that gym thought the spotlight was on them.
And that anecdote is just so perfect because it captures the reality of human focus. We are all so consumed by our own stuff, our own problems, our own insecurities, that we just don't have the bandwidth to meticulously track everyone else's.
So the spotlight that feels so hot and bright, it's really just powered by our own anxiety.
That's all it is. And that realization leads directly to the solution.
Which is silence. Silence is a form of freedom.
Exactly. When you truly internalize that the audience is an illusion, you can make a conscious choice to just
Stop.
Stop explaining, stop defending, stop performing.
And the spotlight just fades away because you were the one holding it the whole time.
The stage, the audience.
Yeah.
It was all in your mind. And you could dismantle it just by refusing to get up and perform.
You stop reacting and you start living. And the relief from that is immediate.
It's massive. And it's not just about relief. When you cut out all that noise, all that worrying about what other people think, you can finally hear your own voice again.
The signal gets through the static.
Perfectly put. You can finally figure out what you actually want without the pressure of the imaginary crowd. It's the ultimate act of self-reclamation.
Okay, so if silence is so freeing, why is it so hard? Why are so many of us, terrified of it? That brings us to the next big piece of this.
It does. Because we have to start by acknowledging how uncomfortable it can feel at first.
Right. Silence can feel so awkward.
It can feel like you failed, or you're weak, or that something's wrong. So we just talk to fill the gap, right?
Yeah.
We just chatter.
Just to prove we're engaged or that we have something to say. We think the more we talk, the more valuable we seem.
But the sources we looked at, they completely flip that idea on its head. They argue that silence isn't weakness at all. It's actually the tool you use to build real, tangible strength.
How does that work, though? How does being quiet make you stronger?
Well, it's not a passive quiet. It's an active, disciplined silence. When you choose to be silent, you're resisting that frantic urge to prove yourself in the moment.
You're not immediately reacting.
You're not. You're taking a beat. You're listening. You're observing the room, the people, the situation before you jump in.
And that's where the authority comes from.
Yeah.
I get it. If you're the person who's always talking, always has an immediate opinion, your words start to feel cheap.
They lose their impact. But if you're the person who listens, who is measured, and who only speaks when it really matters.
Everyone leans in to listen.
Exactly. That selectivity gives incredible weight to your words.
Yeah.
It creates a natural kind of authority without you having to demand it.
It's like the law of scarcity, but for your opinions.
That's a great way to put it. You are communicating without saying a word that your attention and your energy are valuable, and you only use them when it's truly worth it.
And this connects directly to what real confidence looks like.
It does. We often think confidence is being the loudest person in the room, the most assertive.
The big personality.
Right. But these sources suggest that true, deep confidence is often quiet. It's a stillness.
It's the fact that you don't need to constantly talk or get approval from others.
It's an internal validation. When you're genuinely secure in who you are and what you're doing, you don't have to perform it for an audience. It just radiates from you. The silence is a sign of that inner security.
Okay, but let's push on that a little, because if you start practicing this, how do you make sure people don't just think you're arrogant or, cold and distant?
That's the critical distinction to make. This isn't about using silence as a weapon or to be passive-aggressive.
So it's about the intention behind it.
It's all about intention. Arrogance is about making others feel small. This kind of confident silence is simply about controlling your own focus. It's non-reactive.
And the silence itself kind of acts as a filter, doesn't it?
A very powerful one. When you're quiet and observant, you start to see things more clearly. You can quickly tell who in the room respects you for just being there.
Versus who only values you for what you can give them. Your advice, your attention, your reaction, your utility.
Exactly. And that's a tough but necessary test for your relationships. If someone gets annoyed or uncomfortable with your silence, they were probably more invested in your performance than in you.
Wow. That's a big one.
It is. And it leads to this core insight.
Yeah.
Your value is in who you are, not in how well you explain or defend yourself. Silence isn't empty. It's confidence in action.
It's the quiet knowledge that you're enough just as you are without needing to justify it.
And when you have that, you can start applying that strength defensively. You can start protecting your energy.
Okay, so let's get into that. The energy shield.
We've talked about this justification fatigue, but we need to get specific about what causes it. The sources point directly at what they call energy drainers.
And these are the people who, well, they only really come to you when they want something.
Right. It's always a specific transaction. They want advice. They want an audience for their complaints. They want you to absorb their emotional baggage.
The problem isn't just that they ask, it's that they are constantly dumping their problems on you, and they expect you to carry that weight.
Without any thought for what you might be going through. And the result of that, over and over, is what the sources call exhaust.
It's not just being tired, it's being completely depleted. Mentally and emotionally, you feel like you have nothing left for yourself.
And this is where we need to introduce a really useful framework, the conflict economy.
Okay, what's that?
In a conflict economy, the currency isn't money. It's emotional reaction. Someone throws out a complaint or a criticism or some drama.
And they get paid, they get energy from your reaction. Your defense, your anger, your sympathy.
Precisely. So if you are constantly explaining yourself to these people, you are investing your most valuable resource, your energy, into their economy, and you're getting nothing back.
Which is why silence has to become your shield.
It is your shield. It's how you withdraw from that toxic economy. You're refusing to make the transaction. You're saving your energy for your own goals and for people who actually support you.
You're drawing a boundary without even having to have a big confrontational conversation.
Sometimes a simple no, or just letting a dramatic question hang in the air unanswered, is the most powerful response you can give.
It's a huge lesson in self-worth, isn't it? The idea that you don't owe everyone an explanation.
It's fundamental. Not everyone has earned the right to your energy. Your peace is precious, and silence is how you guard it.
And nothing destroys peace faster than drama. Gossip, arguments, needless fights. They're like black holes for your energy.
Which brings us to a core principle here. Drama cannot survive without your attention.
It's a parasite. It needs a host.
Yes, and the host is your reaction. If you argue back, if you defend yourself, if you try to explain why they're wrong, you are feeding the drama. You are giving it exactly what it needs to grow.
But if you stay silent,
the drama starves. It has nowhere to go. You've cut off its life support.
That's so hard to do in the moment, though. Our instinct is to defend ourselves, to correct the record.
It is. It feels totally counterintuitive. But you have to ask yourself, what's the bigger goal? Winning a pointless argument or protecting your long-term peace of mind?
And most of these little flare-ups, they don't matter in a week or even in a day.
They're ephemeral. They only become a big deal if you pour your energy into them. There's that story in the sources where someone makes a really negative comment.
And instead of biting, instead of engaging, the person just stayed quiet, non-reactive.
And what happened? The argument just fizzled out. It died before it could even start. That non-response was the most effective defense possible.
So real strength is knowing when not to engage.
That's the master level. It's recognizing that by staying silent, you're not losing the fight. You are winning the war for your own time, your own mind, and your own peace.
You're choosing not to enter the conflict economy at all.
You're removing yourself from the battlefield. That's real control. It's the opposite of weakness.
Okay, so we've used silence to protect our peace in the present. Now, how do we use it to build our future?
This is where we shift from defense to offense in a way. We start talking about how to use this quiet focus to fuel your own growth and transformation.
And the first idea here is one that feels, almost radical in our current culture.
The idea that talking about your goals can actually stop you from achieving them.
Right. Because the default move now is to announce everything.
Yeah.
You start a new project, you post about it, you have a new goal, you tell everyone. We think it creates accountability.
But the sources suggest it often does the exact opposite. There's a psychological trap here called the intention-execution gap.
The intention-execution gap. Okay, break that down.
When you announce your goal and people give you praise for it, oh, that's so amazing, you're so inspiring, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine.
You get the reward.
You get the social reward, the positive feedback, as if you've already done some of the work.
So if I say, I'm going to run a marathon, and everyone tells me how incredible I am, I get the feeling of being a marathon runner before I've even laced up my shoes for the first training run.
Precisely. And that feeling can actually reduce your motivation to do the hard, boring, actual work. You've psychologically cashed the check before you've earned it.
Wow. So silence is better for your goals because it keeps that motivational energy contained.
It does. And it also protects your goal from noise.
What kind of noise?
When you announce your plans, you invite everyone's opinion. And while some people will be supportive, others will criticize or plant seeds of doubt or offer unsolicited advice that just confuses you.
Or even worse, some people might secretly not want you to succeed because your growth makes them uncomfortable with their own lack of it.
And all of that negativity forces you to waste your energy defending the idea of your goal before you've even had a chance to build any momentum.
So when you stay quiet, your goals have room to breathe. They can grow strong in private without all that outside pressure.
The mantra here is so simple, but so powerful. Talk less, move more. Let your results be the announcement.
The success itself is the statement.
Exactly. And you need that quiet focus because when you do start to make real, visible changes in your life, you need to be prepared for the reaction.
Ah, yes. The inevitable, you've changed.
And it's almost never said like a compliment. It's usually an accusation, like you've broken some unwritten rule.
This taps into what's called the status quo threat. Your change, your growth, it threatens the predictable world of the people around you.
If you get better, it forces them to look at their own life, their own stasis. And that could be very uncomfortable for them.
They like the old you better, the one who was always available, always explaining themselves.
The one who is more predictable. This new, focused, quiet you is less accessible. And that can feel like a threat to them.
But the thing you have to hold on to, the crucial defense here, is that you're supposed to change.
Yes. Growth is the whole point.
Yeah.
You're not meant to stay the same person forever, just to keep other people comfortable in their own lives.
And silence is how you protect that new version of yourself. You don't owe everyone a detailed report on your evolution.
You don't. The people who are uncomfortable want you to justify why you're putting yourself first now. And silence is a way of saying, I don't need to, without ever having a confrontation.
It helps you manage that awkward phase of growth where you're moving away from old patterns and relationships.
It does. And this is the final liberating takeaway from it all. Outgrowing people is not a selfish act. It is a natural sign of growth.
You don't owe anyone the old version of yourself.
And you are allowed to protect the person you are working so hard to become. And silence is one of your most powerful tools to do that.
When you put all these pieces together, when you finally stop performing for that imaginary audience and stop defending every little thing, something really profound happens. The noise just stops.
And that's it. That is the emergence of real internal peace. When you break that cycle, the quiet that's left isn't empty. It's full of clarity.
And we've learned that true peace is quiet, isn't it? Doesn't need to shout. You can see it in how a person carries themselves, their stability, their calm.
Their silence really does speak louder than any noise they can make. It's an energetic anchor, and in a chaotic world, that kind of stable energy is incredibly magnetic.
So to really bring this home for everyone listening, for you looking for those key insights you can apply right away, silence is not emptiness.
It is clarity, it is strength, and it's the foundation of a confidence that doesn't need anyone else's approval to exist.
It's the superpower you use to finally achieve and maintain your own internal focus.
A focus that lets you point all that saved energy toward what actually matters to you, your growth, your goals, and the relationships that actually feed you instead of drain you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. This is one of those concepts that seems so simple, but when you really start to apply it, it can change everything.
It really can. And we've established that this practice of silence, it saves your energy, it protects you from drama, and it shields you from judgment that is often just in your own head.
So we want to leave you with one final thought to take with you.
A question to move this from just an idea to something you can actually do. So think about this. If the silence you start practicing today is a form of control over your own life, what is the single most important goal you have right now? The one that really deserves to be protected from all that external noise and that intention execution gap.
And once you have that in mind,
What is one small, quiet action you can take toward it today? Something you don't announce, don't explain, and don't defend. Just something you do for you.
think about that. Shield your goals. Protect your peace. Until next time, stay focused and remember the power of what you choose not to say.